um, LarsonNutrition.com and LarsonBotanical.com. And I want to talk to you today about your body's power plant, Urolithin A and mitochondria, and why 3 generations of allergies are actually just one story. So, we're going to dig into this to help you understand if you have things going on like, oh, you always had a skin allergy or you've always had these allergies. This is all in your gut. And I want to go through what this matters, how you do some testing, and what will help you get through this if you care to get rid of your allergies, if you care to get rid of your lupus or your MS, or help minimize all those symptoms that you're having. So, what if I told you that a grandmother with lupus, her daughter with skin allergies, and her grandson with food allergies, all 3 of them are dealing with the same root problem, right? Just showing up in different ways. And what if the answer to all 3 starts in your gut? It runs through your cells, it connects to something called your mitochondria. And that's what we're talking about today. And it is going to change the way you think about your family's health forever. So, let's talk about your body's batteries. The basics is inside almost every cell in your body, there are tiny little structures called mitochondria. Now, if you were in school and you fell asleep during science class, here's all you need to remember. Mitochondria are like batteries. They take the food you eat and turn it into energy your body can actually use. Every time your heart beats, that's mitochondria working. Every time you think a thought, that's mitochondria. And every time your immune system fights off a bad guy, right? A cold or a fever, whatever, that's your mitochondria. Now, here's where it gets interesting. What happens to a battery over time, right? It runs down, it gets old, right? It doesn't hold a charge as well. It gets sluggish. Well, the same thing happens to your mitochondria. They get old, they get damaged, they get worn out, and when that happens, you feel it. You feel tired, your brain feels foggy, your muscles ache, your immune system starts going haywire. And here's the part that nobody talks about enough. Damaged mitochondria are linked to almost every major chronic disease we know of: heart disease, Alzheimer's, MS, autoimmune conditions, even allergies. So, what do we do about it? That's where urolithin A comes in. So, what is urolithin A and where does it come from? Let me talk about the pomegranate connection. So, urolithin A is a naturally occurring compound in your body. It's a molecule, something your body can use. And here's the cool part about where it comes from. You know, pomegranates, those beautiful red fruits with those little jewels inside, and also walnuts and some berries like raspberries, blackberries, strawberries. Your gut bacteria can convert elegitannins into urolithin A, especially, sorry, they can turn it into urolithins, especially urolithin A, which is the compound often discussed for mitochondrial health, muscle aging, inflammation, and cellular cleanup. And not everybody can convert it in their gut. So when you eat those foods, your gut bacteria take those elegitannins and transform them like a little chemistry lab in your stomach, and they produce urolithin A. Now, this is amazing about plant-based nutrition, and it's the reason I built Larson Botanicals, because nature already figured this out. Like, I have this therapeutic myrrh balm. Myrrh has been around for thousands of years. Well, myrrh actually helps reduce pain. That's why I created the therapeutic myrrh balm. The plants have the answers. We just need to know which ones to use and how to get them into our bodies consistently. And you can learn more about what we put together at larsonbotanicals.com. Just let me keep going because the science here gets even better. Now, here's the catch. More than 60% of people don't have the right gut bacteria to make this conversion happen. And that means most of us, even if we're eating pomegranates every day, that is it doesn't mean that you're making urolithin A. Our gut doesn't have the right team to do the job. And this is why researchers have been studying it so intensely because it's natural, it's safe, and it does something remarkable for your mitochondria. So, what does urolithin A actually do? It's mitophagy, the cell's recycling system. Your body has a cleanup crew inside your cells. There's a process called mitophagy or autophagy, which literally means eating the mitochondria. But don't let that freak you out because this is a good thing. Think of it like recycling. You know how cities have recycling centers. I just went on a review of one up here in northern Michigan. It's amazing what the recycling centers do. And you bring in your old broken stuff and it gets broken down and turned into new stuff. And that's what mitophagy does. It's called, or it says this mitochondria is old and damaged. So let's break it down and build a fresh, healthy one. And urolithin A is like the alarm system that wakes up that recycling process. When you have enough urolithin A in the body, it activates mitophagy. It says, "Hey, cleanup crew, get to work." And your body starts clearing out the old, worn out mitochondria and replacing them with new, efficient ones. And here's the research backing this up. This isn't some fringe theory. This is published in the Journal of Nature Aging in 2025, a double-blind placebo-controlled trial that's the gold standard of science research. Looked at 50 adults aged 45 to 70, and they found that urolithin A at 1,000 milligrams per day actually recharged the immune cells by improving mitochondrial health. Another study in iScience, published in early 2025, found that urolithin A improved heart cell mitochondrial quality, protecting against heart aging and dysfunction. This is amazing. And a trial published in Cell Reports Medicine found that urolithin A boosted exercise endurance and physical performance in real humans, not just mice. And we're talking about turning your body's batteries from old and leaky into fresh and fully charged. Now, when I look at formulas like what we've built at Larson Botanicals, this is exactly the science I'm looking at. What does the research actually support? What does the body actually need at a cellular level? Because I refuse to put something in a bottle just because it's trendy. It has to be backed by science. Go check out what we've built at larsonbotanicals.com. Everything there is grounded in research, just like this podcast. Now, I want to tell you a story, and this story might sound a lot like your family. Imagine three people sitting at a dining room table. There's Grandma Rose. She's in her 70s. She was diagnosed with lupus years ago. Then came multiple sclerosis, MS. She's tired. She's in pain. Some days are better than others. And she takes a list of medications that's longer than your grocery list. Then there's her daughter, Michelle. She's in her 40s. She has chronic skin allergies, eczema that flares up. She's got seasonal allergies, bad enough that spring feels like an enemy. And she's been on antihistamines for years. And then there's little Marcus, Michelle's son, the grandson. He's 5 years old and he has food allergies, peanuts, tree nuts, some dairy. He has to carry an EpiPen to school. His gut always seems off. So three people, three different diagnoses, three different doctors, and three different medications. But here's what I want you to see. These are all telling the same story. They just got it different chapters. So that story is called gut dysbiosis or leaky gut, a broken immune system and failing mitochondria. The gut is your command center. So why it all starts in the belly? So, okay, let's talk about the gut because this is a foundation of everything. Your gut is not just where food gets digested. It is the headquarters of your immune system. About 70 to 80% of your immune system lives in and around your gut. So when your gut is healthy, your immune system is healthy. And when your gut is a mess, your immune system is a mess. And what does a mess look like? Scientists call it dysbiosis. And this is, which just means the bad bacteria in your gut are winning over the good bacteria. And when that happens, something called leaky gut can develop. And here's a super simple way to think about this. Imagine your gut lining is like a fence. It's a healthy fence with no gaps. It keeps the bad stuff out and only lets the good stuff through. But when your gut is inflamed and out of balance, that fence gets holes in it. Suddenly, things that should stay inside the gut, like bits of undigested food, toxins, bacteria, start leaking through into your bloodstream. And your immune system sees that and goes, intruder alert, danger, Will Robinson, right? It starts attacking. And sometimes it starts attacking the wrong things, like food proteins, like pollen, and in the worst cases, like the body's own tissue. Now, that last one, that's called autoimmune disease. That's what lupus is. Marcus, the grandson, and his food allergies. He's the littlest member, the earliest warning. Little Marcus is actually the most important one in this story, not because his condition is the most serious, but because he is the warning sign that got caught early. Here's what the research now tells us. Published in Frontiers in Nutrition in 2025, early life microbial colonization is now recognized as a critical determinant of immune development. When a child's gut microbiome doesn't develop properly, their immune system doesn't learn to tolerate certain foods and particles. Instead, it gets hypersensitive. It starts sounding false alarms. That's a food allergy. That's the immune system saying that peanut protein, dangerous, when really it's not. And here's the generational piece. The research shows that gut microbiome health can be passed down many times over and over again. If your mom and grandma have disrupted gut microbiomes, the odds of Marcus having one go up significantly. His allergies aren't random. They're a downstream effect of a person that started before he was even born. The good news, he's young. His gut is still highly adaptable. And with the right functional nutrition approach, his immune system can learn to tolerate more. His gut can be rebuilt. And if you're a parent listening to this thinking, that sounds like my kid, I want you to head over to larsonnutrition.com. We have educational resources specifically built around childhood gut health and allergy foundations, because understanding what's happening is step one. And step one starts with the right information. Now let's talk about the daughter, Michelle, and her skin and seasonal allergies. Michelle's story is the middle of the book: eczema and seasonal allergies, some root issue, a gut that's leaky, and an immune system that is chronically overreacting. When allergens get into the bloodstream through a leaky gut, the immune system doesn't just react locally, it sends signals throughout the body. And skin is one of the most common places, where most of where the skin signals show up, right? Skin inflammation, redness, rashes, eczema. And when her immune system is constantly on red alert from gut leakage, everything seems like a threat, including tree pollen, pet dander, dust. The antihistamines Michelle takes, they block the reaction, which is fine in the short term, but that doesn't fix the fence. They don't address the leaky gut. They don't rebuild the microbiome. And that's the difference between conventional medicine and functional nutrition. Conventional says, let's quiet this alarm. Functional nutrition says, let's find out why the alarm keeps going off and fix that. And that is the entire mission behind LarsonNutrition.com, to give people like Michelle a roadmap, not a prescription to suppress symptoms, a real plan to address the root. If Michelle comes to us, we'd look at her gut, her inflammation markers, her diet, her stress load. We'd build a picture of that whole person. That's whole functional nutrition does. It's what we do. Now, Grandma Rose, lupus, MS, and the functional nutrition approach. And this is the most important conversation. Now let's talk about, Grandma Rose, because this is where I want to say something clear and important. I'm not telling you to stop taking your medications. Please work with your doctor always. But what I am telling you is what the science says about what is happening underneath lupus and what functional nutrition can do to address those underlying drivers. So let's break this down. What is lupus? Lupus is an autoimmune disease. And that means the immune system, your body's own defense army, gets confused and starts attacking healthy tissue. The joints, the skin, the kidneys, the heart. It causes chronic inflammation throughout the body. Now, here's what the research published in Frontiers in Immunology in 2025 says. Lupus patients have a specific type of gut dysbiosis. The balance of their gut bacteria is disrupted in measurable, consistent ways. And that disruption contributes to what's called immune metabolic dysfunction, which means the immune system isn't just confused, it's also running on bad energy. Its mitochondria are broken. And this is where urolithin A becomes incredibly relevant. Research in Frontiers in Immunology also found that a particular gut bacterium called Lactobacillus casei increases something called nicotinamide, which feeds into NAD plus. Metabolism, NAD plus is the fuel that runs mitochondria. And when mitochondria in immune cells work properly, the regulatory T cells, the ones that tell the immune system to calm down and stop attacking the body, they all function better. And in other words, fix the mitochondria, fix the immune regulation, reduce autoimmune attacks. And that is the functional nutrition hypotheses for lupus. And the research is pointing strongly in that direction. Additionally, studies show that lupus patients have higher levels of oxidative stress, meaning their cells have too many harmful free radicals running around. Antioxidants like selenium and vitamin C have been shown to help manage this. You can take 2 Brazil nuts a day, and that's all the selenium you need for a day. And take a quality vitamin C, and these have been shown to help. And in diet specifically, an anti-inflammatory diet rich in fiber, polyphenols, and plant diversity directly shifts the gut microbiome in ways that reduce immune system misfiring. I also take seed, SEED. Now, this is an absolutely amazing microbiome, probiotic, prebiotic for your system. If you're having any problems pooping, this will be amazing for your system. And this is why I'm so passionate about botanical medicine. These plants that contain these polyphenols, the alligotannins, the antioxidants, the fiber, they are not optional add-ons for someone like Grandma Rose. They are foundational. At Larson Botanicals and Larson Nutrition, the formulas we build are designed with this exact person in mind, someone dealing with real chronic systemic challenges who needs clean, targeted, research-backed support, not gimmicks. Check out larsonbotanicals.com and larsonnutrition.com for more information, and go see what we've built and why the functional nutrition protocol, what could help all three. So a framework for the whole family. So now you're probably asking, Okay, so what do we actually do about this? Let me walk you through the functional nutrition pillars that apply to all three of these family members in different ways, at different intensities, but the same foundation. Pillar one, heal the gut lining. This means removing inflammatory foods, primarily ultra processed foods, refined sugar, artificial additives, and anything the individual reacts to personally. This is why elimination diets can be so powerful. It's not because we're afraid of food, but because we need to stop pouring gasoline on the fire while we rebuild the fence. Foods that support gut lining repair include bone broth, L-glutamine, zinc-rich foods like pumpkin seeds, and fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, and kefir, if they are well tolerated, that is. So kefir, if somebody has an allergy to milk, kefir a lot of times doesn't cause any problems. So pillar two, rebuild the microbiome. This is where probiotics, prebiotics, and diversity of plant foods come in. For Marcus, age-appropriate probiotic strains. For Michelle, targeted strains that have been shown to reduce skin inflammation. For Grandma Rose, strains that support immune regulation and reduce gut dysbiosis associated with lupus. Research published in 2025 confirms that specific probiotic strains like Lactobacillus reuteri and Bifidobacterium lactis can help repair the gut bacteria and reduce the immune overreactions because allergies and autoimmune conditions. Those are all behind the allergies and autoimmune conditions. So pillar three is feed the mitochondria. This is where urolithin A, CoQ10, magnesium, B vitamins, maybe even methylated B vitamins. If your body is, a lot of people can't methylate B vitamins, so I highly recommend you get a methylated B vitamin, especially riboflavin and niacin. And NAD plus precursors come in. These are the building blocks your mitochondria need to work well. For Grandma Rose, especially her mitochondrial health is central to her immune dysregulation. The 2025 Nature Aging trial showed that urolithin A improved mitochondrial quality in aging immune cells. That is directly relevant to an autoimmune condition like lupus. And also fasting can help. Fasting is amazing for our bodies to help itself repair, including your gut biome, including autoimmune conditions. It will go around and go into autophagy. So I highly recommend doing a 3-day water fast or doing even a 5-day fast. But you might want to try Prolon, Prolon Health. They actually have a mimicking 5-day water fast. It's under 800 calories a day, and research has shown that this is really healthy for your body to do this 5-day fast. It's doctor backed, nutrition, functional nutrition backed, and it's a really healthy way to do a 5-day fast. Now, when I'm thinking about mitochondrial support in a supplement context, I look for clean delivery, no unnecessary fillers, no synthetic binders, nothing that adds to the inflammatory load the body is already carrying. That's a non-negotiable. At Larson Botanicals, every formula goes through that filter. Check out what it looks like at larsonbotanicals.com. So let's look at pillar 4, reduce systemic inflammation. Omega-3 fatty acids from wild-caught fish or high-quality algae supplements, turmeric with black pepper for absorption, a colorful, diverse, mostly whole food diet. Think broccoli, bell peppers, zucchini, squash, pumpkin seeds. These are not optional nice to haves. They are medicine. For lupus specifically, omega-3s have shown measurable reduction in disease activity markers in multiple clinical trials. Pillar 5, address the stress immune connection. Chronic stress And let me tell you, living with lupus and MS and watching your grandchild carry an EpiPen and chronic stress dramatically worsens gut permeability and immune dysregulation. Sleep, nervous system regulation, and stress management are not soft advice, lifestyle advice. They are clinical interventions. Cortisol, the stress hormone, when chronically elevated, it destroys the gut lining. It's like the fence is being kicked over from the inside. And if you're sitting there going, okay, I know I need all of this, but I have no idea how to put it together into an actual plan for my body. And this is exactly what larsonnutrition.com is built for. We take everything you just heard, the pillars, the science, the family picture, and we help you apply it personally. Not a generic handout, not a real function, but a real functional nutrition approach tailored to you. Now, a word about Urolithin A specifically for this family. I want to talk about tailoring it. So urolithin A is specifically, to talk specifically about how it applies here is for Marcus, the young grandson at this stage, the priority is rebuilding his gut microbiome so his body can eventually produce urolithin A naturally. Focus on a diverse whole food diet rich in fiber and polyphenols, berries, pomegranate, walnuts, age appropriate portions. If supplementation is considered, work with a pediatric functional medicine practitioner. For Michelle, her mitochondria are likely under strain from years of chronic immune activation. And urolithin A supplementation at clinically studied doses starting at 500 milligrams could support cellular energy and help calm the immune overreaction underlying her eczema and seasonal allergies. Combined with gut healing, this is a powerful combination. And I use an app called Supco to look at my supplementation to make sure that it is a high quality supplement. And so for Grandma Rose, this is where I'd pay the most attention. Research shows that aging immune cells can literally be recharged through improved mitochondrial function. A 2025 study found that urolithin A at 1,000 milligrams per day improved immune cell function by cleaning out old mitochondria and rebuilding new ones. For someone with lupus, whose regulatory immune cells are not functioning properly, improving the mitochondrial health of those cells is not a small thing. It could be a game changer. Again, please work with a functional medicine practitioner. These are not replacements for medical care. They are the missing places and pieces that conventional medicine often doesn't have time to address. And so I want to talk about the generation pattern and how to stop it. Because when a child is born, the mother's gut biome is passed down to the baby. And here's something I want to leave you with because I think it's the most powerful thing I've said today. Grandma Rose didn't choose lupus, Michelle didn't choose eczema, and Marcus didn't choose food allergies. But what the science now tells us is that these conditions follow a pattern, a biological pattern that runs through generations. Gut microbiome disruption passed down, leaky gut passed down, mitochondrial stress passed down. But, and this is the hopeful part, healing can also be passed down. If Michelle heals her gut and improves her microbiome, she creates a better biological environment for any future children. If Marcus gets his supported now while he's young and his microbiome is still forming, the trajectory for his immune health can change completely. And if Grandma Rose addresses the root causes of her autoimmune condition through functional nutrition, she may, and I want to be careful here, she may not just feel better herself. She may reduce the inflammatory signals rippling through the family's shared environmental diet and stress patterns. And you can be the person in your family who breaks the cycle. And the two best places to start that journey with us are larsonnutrition.com for education, guidance, and personalized functional nutrition support, and larsonbotanicals.com for the clean, research-backed botanical supplements your cells are actually asking for. Both are linked in my show notes. So the practical takeaways, what to do starting tomorrow. So start with this, with real action steps, because information without action is just entertainment. And if you're just starting out, do these 3 things. Diversify your diet. Eat 30 different plant foods per week. That sounds like a lot, but we're in the season where you can eat 30 different plant foods per week. Take those plants and freeze them over the summer, over the spring and summer and fall. Process them, chop them up, put them into a bag or a Tupperware, a glass Tupperware, or I use some green bags, not plastic bags, and make sure that you have them for the winter. That sounds like a lot, but herbs, spices, and small amounts all count. Every different plant feeds different bacteria in your gut. 2, add pomegranate, walnuts, and berries regularly. These are the foods that your gut, if it has the right bacteria, can convert into urolithin A. Even if you're in the 60% who can't make the conversion, these foods feed good gut bacteria and reduce inflammation. And 3, reduce your ultra processed food. I'm not saying be perfect. I'm saying this is the single most powerful lever the research shows for improving gut microbiome health. Ultra processed food literally kills the diversity of your gut bacteria. And if you're dealing with allergies, grandmother, mother, or child, work on an elimination protocol to identify personal triggers. Larson Nutrition has an elimination diet on my site. Just you can search for elimination diet and you'll be able to find it in the blog information. Consider high quality probiotic supplementation like seed. Consider gut healing nutrients like L-glutamine, which is an awesome fiber, and zinc. And go to larsonnutrition.com to get the education that helps you actually understand what your body is telling you. And if you're dealing with an autoimmune condition like lupus, please bring a functional medicine practitioner onto your team, not to replace your rheumatologist, to work alongside them. Ask to have your gut health evaluated. Ask about anti-inflammatory nutrition protocols. Ask about mitochondrial support. And look at what we carry at larsonbotanicals.com, specifically with your cellular and immune health in mind. You deserve a team that is looking at all the pieces, not just managing symptoms. So that's a wrap on today's episode of the Larson Health Podcast. And if this episode made you think of someone in your family or a friend, a grandmother, a mom, a neighbor, share this with them, because this information can change lives when it gets to the right people at the right time. Everything we talked about today, the science, the story, the solutions, it all lives in 2 places. larsonbotanicals.com for your skincare products, and larsonnutrition.com for your educational blogs, show notes, and all built with you in mind. And as always, nothing on this podcast is medical advice. It is education. Take it to your doctor, advocate for yourself, and ask better questions. And I'll see you next time. Stay curious and stay healthy.